Imagine a time when most of America stopped at the Mississippi River. Beyond that lay a vast, unknown world of mountains, rivers, endless plains, and peoples no American had ever met. In 1803, President Thomas Jefferson made one of the boldest moves in history. He bought the Louisiana Territory from France for just $15 million, a land twice the size of the young United States. But buying it was one thing. Knowing what was in it, that was another. Jefferson dreamed of a water route across the continent, the legendary Northwest Passage, to connect the Atlantic to the Pacific for trade. He also wanted maps, scientific discoveries, friendly relations with native tribes, and proof that America could claim this new frontier. To lead this impossible mission, he chose his personal secretary, a brilliant but quiet 29-year-old Army captain named Meriwether Lewis. Lewis picked his old friend, the skilled map maker and outdoorsman William Clark, as co-leader. Together, they formed the Corps of Discovery, about 45 men, one enslaved black man named York, and later a young Shoshone woman and her baby who would change everything. Lewis spent months in Philadelphia learning botany, astronomy, medicine, and navigation. He designed a special 55-foot keelboat and gathered supplies, guns, tools, gifts for tribes, beads, mirrors, cloth, medicines, and scientific instruments. In the winter of 1803 through 1804, the Corps trained at Camp Dubois near St. Louis, Missouri. Discipline was strict. Late risers or troublemakers faced lashes, but the men were tough: soldiers, hunters, boatmen, and French-Canadian traders. On May 14, 1804, the journey officially began. The keelboat and two pirogues pushed up the Missouri River against a strong current. The men rowed, poled, and pulled the boats with ropes from the shore. Mosquitoes swarmed. Heat exhausted them, yet excitement filled the air. They were stepping into the unknown. Early on, they met Odo and Missouri tribes. Lewis and Clark held formal councils, smoked peace pipes, gave medals and gifts, and explained that a new great father in Washington now ruled the land. The tribes were curious, some friendly, some cautious. Tragedy struck in August 1804 near present-day Sioux City, Iowa. Sergeant Charles Floyd died, likely from a burst appendix, the only death on the entire expedition. They buried him on a bluff overlooking the river. The summer and fall of 1804 were grueling. Sandbars trapped the boats. Snakes and grizzly bears lurked. Buffalo herds thundered across the plains, one of the wonders the men described in awe. They documented everything: 178 new plants, 122 animals never seen by science, prairie dogs, pronghorn antelope, coyotes. Lewis's Newfoundland dog, Seaman, became famous for chasing buffalo and once saving the camp from a charging bison. By late fall, winter forced them to stop. Near present-day Bismarck, North Dakota, they built Fort Mandan and spent 5 months with the friendly Mandan and Hidatsa tribes. Here, they met French-Canadian trader Toussaint Charbonneau and his 16-year-old Shoshone wife, Sakagawe, who had been kidnapped years earlier. She spoke Shoshone and Hidatsa. Her husband was hired as an interpreter. In February 1805, Sakagawe gave birth to a son, Jean-Baptiste, nicknamed Pompey. The baby would travel with them, strapped to her back. Spring 1805 brought the hardest part yet. The Missouri River narrowed. The men saw the Rockies rising like giants ahead. No easy water passage appeared. To the Rockies and beyond, 1200 to 2000. In April 1805, they left Fort Mandan with fewer men. Some returned east with reports and specimens. The keelboat was sent back. They continued in canoes. Sakagawa proved invaluable. When a boat nearly capsized, she calmly rescued journals, maps, and instruments. They reached the Great Falls of the Missouri, a series of 10 miles of waterfalls. They portaged boats and gear 18 miles over rough land, a month of backbreaking work. At the Continental Divide in August 1805, they finally met the Shoshone, Sakagawa's own people. In an emotional reunion, she recognized her brother, Kamiowate, now chief. Through her, the Corps traded for horses and a guide named Old Toby to cross the mountains. The Bitterroot Mountains on the Lolo Trail were brutal. Snow in September, steep cliffs, starvation. The men ate horses, candles, even boiled leather. They were near collapse when they finally descended into the Clearwater River Valley. With Nez Perce help, they built new dugout canoes and floated down the Clearwater, Snake, and Columbia rivers. Rapids tossed the boats. One man nearly drowned. On November 7, 1805, Clark wrote, "Ocean in view, oh, the joy!" They had reached the Pacific. Though it was actually the wide Columbia estuary, true ocean came days later. They built Fort Clatsop near present-day Astoria, Oregon, for the rainy winter of 1805 to 1806. Rain fell almost every day, 90 inches that season. The men hunted elk, repaired gear, traded with local Chinook, Clatsop, and Tillamook tribes, and wrote detailed journals about everything they saw. Sakagawa, York, and the baby were treated as equals in many ways, rare for the time. York even danced for the tribes and was fascinated by the ocean. March 23, 1806. They started home. The return was faster, down the Columbia, over the Rockies with Nez Perce guides, then down the Missouri. Lewis split the party briefly. He explored the Marias River, where they fought Blackfeet warriors, 2 killed, while Clark down the Yellowstone. They reunited in August. On September 23, 1806, the Corps reached St. Louis. Cheers erupted. They had traveled over 8,000 miles in 2 years, 4 months, and 9 days. America went wild with the news. The expedition failed to find a Northwest Passage. None existed, but it succeeded beyond imagination. Detailed maps, scientific records, tribal relations, some peaceful, some tense, and proof that the West was vast, rich, and full of promise. Sakagawa became a legend, symbol of courage and survival. Lewis died young in 1909, possibly suicide. Clark lived longer, serving as governor and superintendent of Indian Affairs. Today, the Lewis and Clark Trail winds through 11 states. Their journals, honest, vivid, sometimes poetic, remain one of America's greatest adventure stories. They remind us of exploration's cost, beauty, and the complex encounters between cultures. The Corps of Discovery didn't just cross a continent, they opened the door to the American West.